Hi everyone, it's Alex Sparks here from Sparks Finance and I'm your local mortgage broker in Bathurst. Today's video is the importance of building insurance. Okay, now building insurance is something you will need to get when you purchase a property to make sure that your property is protected. Okay, so obviously you bought a property, you want to make sure that if anything did happen, you've got cover for that, and it's really important to make sure that you are protected for any adverse event. Now, insurance is one of those things that no one likes to pay it. It's always just a little cost that comes out, but it's super important, because if there was a fire at your property and you didn't have insurance on that, you're up for a full, another rebuild of $500,000, and creates a lot of legal issues, etc. So getting building insurance and making sure that you're protected and your family's protected is so important within the home buying process, and something that quite often just gets overlooked. Okay, but what we're going to run through now is just the importance of building insurance and some tips to make sure that you're thinking correctly about building insurance to make sure that you've got the best policy for you. So the first one is obviously to look for a reputable insurer. Okay, now there's some main insurers out there, your NRMAs, your Alliances, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these ones are reputable insurers. Okay, they've got tried and tested, for years and years. Yes, some people might like them, some people might not, but at the end of the day, they are reputable insurers and who have done this for a long period of time. There's a lot of different lenders that options insurers that may come through. Like almost every health insurance or any other company has insurance of some description just available. A lot of these are underwritten by larger companies, but it really goes down to the customer service of that. If you were to ever need them, it's really important to be with a reputable one to make sure that you've got that good customer service, because obviously it'll be a time of high stress if you do need to make a claim or whatever. To make sure they've got those those good systems and processes in place is really important. So I would be saying it's better off to go with a reputable insurer rather than one that's just just there for the commission. You do that, obviously look for the main ones. You'll know their brands before you even sort of see them anyway. You'll know who the reputable insurers are, but making sure that you go with one of them, I think is really important. Having worked in insurance before, having seen some of the other practices that go on with other insurers, just stick with the reputable ones, and make sure that you're with someone who will take care of you, assuming something bad does happen. So the next one here is get adequate coverage. Okay, now this is really important, especially like with building insurance recently. So when people get their renewal notice, they go, yep, sweet, no worries, I'll just renew that. Okay, but what's happened in the last 12 months and 18 months in particular is the cost of construction. So for example, if my house was to burn down, it will cost significantly more to rebuild this place than it would have 2 years ago. So it's really important to make sure you've got that adequate coverage and replacement value and things like that for your home. So by discussing with them and working out how much it would cost to actually rebuild this property is a really important step. And for example, if you have a building coverage for $200,000 and it costs $400,000, there's a massive gap there. So it's really important to make sure that you've got up-to-date coverage of your property to ensure that you don't have any issues if the worst did happen. So the next thing in here is to add contents. Okay, now a lot of people just get the building insurance, but if something did happen to your property, there's a lot of things within your property in the contents that wouldn't be covered. Say for example, a house burnt down, you had to rebuild it. Great, you got building insurance for that, but what about your contents? If someone comes in and steals some stuff, what about your contents? So if you go through every single room, and the contents part of it is how much would it cost to replace that brand new? It's not what it's worth now. So for example, if you've got a 10-year-old fridge, so be it, right? It's not worth what a new one is. But if your house got burned down and you got hit by lightning and all the electric shit itself, you would then have to go and get that new one. So how much would that cost? So if you go through, just your living room, it's okay. So you got your couches, you got the pillows, you might have a blanket, you might have a TV stand, you have a TV, you've got lights, you've got all this kind of stuff, coffee table, lamps, whatever that might be. That's just one room. Look at the bedroom, bed, mattress, bedside tables, lamps, clothes, all this kind of stuff. If you actually went room by room and sat down, okay, how much, if I had to wipe this all out and buy it all new again, how much would that cost? Now people just have contents and go, okay, oh, my stuff is worth 10,000. Well, it's not worth 10,000. It's worth 10,000. It's probably more than it's not what you think it is. But you know, it might actually be worth $20,000. You're only insuring for 10, but if you had to replace it, it might be 50. You go through your wardrobe, how many clothes and stuff there actually is in there. Have a look and you go, well, if I was to replace all this stuff, that's a lot of money. So getting the contents right and having a proper look at it and getting adequate coverage is super, super important. And contents are often something that people, don't think about, okay? And there's a lot of other things that contents can come in. So for example, if you have a new mobile phone, it's cheaper for me to put that on my contents insurance than it is to get, the insurance with, Telstra or whoever it might be. So little tricks of the trade like that can save you a lot of money by putting that on your contents insurance. The other thing is obviously to be covered for the right things. So for example, if you're in a flood zone or your property, if it floods, you might not be covered for that, okay? So having a look at the exclusions is a really, really important tip to make sure that you are covered. So are you covered by storm? If a tree falls down on your house, are you covered by that? Are you covered for that? Looking at those exclusions and making sure you're covered for the right things is the most important, because you don't want to pay all this money over time, something bad does happen, and then they go, oh, sorry, you're not covered for that. Well, shit, this is why it's really important to talk to someone to make sure that you're covered for the things you need to be covered for. Now, the other thing to obviously check is to check your excess, okay? Now an excess is basically a fee that most insurers will charge up front to therefore access the insurance. So for example, it might be, if I wanted to make a claim, I have to pay $500 and then they will handle the claim. So, and then I get say $10,000 back or whatever it might be, but if it was only $100 worth of damage, there's no point paying a $500 excess to get $100 back. So having a look at your excess, and the higher the excess, generally the lower the premium. So finding the right balance for you is really, really important, because it's not something you're probably going to use, really often, hopefully never. But having the excess, at a higher level will therefore reduce the premiums for you to make sure that there's that right balance between, well, if I ever did need it, will I ever have $1,000 just to put down if I need to access a claim? And hopefully for most people that would be yes. But checking your excess is really, really important when it comes to your insurance to hopefully save a bit of money, or make sure that if you ever did need to use it, you're in a position to find that money if required. But look, as I said, guys, building insurance is such an important part of the process that often gets overlooked when you're going through that journey. The banks do require it because obviously it's their asset as well, but it is your asset. You want to be protected, you want to protect your family and everything that you've worked really hard for. So by getting the building insurance, getting it right, making sure that you've got the right coverage, adequate coverage, protecting all the contents, and you've got it at a good price is really important. Now the last thing that I'll leave you on is the cheapest policy isn't always the best policy. I would prefer to pay more money and get a better quality policy than I would just find the absolute cheapest, because this is where people come into trouble. They don't have coverage for the stuff that they think they're gonna have coverage for, and then they're putting themselves in a really risky position because they're trying to save a little bit of money, but they're gonna pay a hell of a lot more in the long run. So don't go the cheapest. Have a look online, for example, and go and have a look on, compare the market, have a look and see what options are available, but then actually call that lender up and make sure that you go, well, this is my exact property, this is what I'm doing. Talk to someone to make sure that you have adequate coverage. Yes, the price might be a little bit higher than what you originally anticipated, but at least you're covered for the things you need to be covered for. But once again, guys, if you have any questions around that, we can point you in the right direction. There are insurance brokers that work similar to what mortgage brokers do to be able to help you throughout this process and find you the right policy. Your house is your most important asset outside of your own and your family's lives. So making sure that that's adequately protected is our number one goal. But thanks very much, guys. Any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, look forward to speaking with you all soon. Thank you.